My beloved child. Stop scrolling, pause here for a moment. Something is waiting for you, and what you are about to hear was meant to find you at this exact moment. Do not rush past these words. They did not arrive by accident. They have crossed your path because heaven has allowed this moment to unfold exactly as it was written. There is a reason your heart feels strangely restless today. There is a reason your spirit has been searching without fully understanding what it has been searching for. Something has already begun moving beyond what your eyes can see. Take one slow breath and listen carefully. Someone is waiting for you. Not in a distant dream. Not in an impossible future. Not only inside a prayer whispered into the night. A real place is being prepared. Even now, while you hear these words, hands are arranging what you cannot yet witness. Decisions are being made. Empty spaces are slowly becoming full. Silence is quietly turning into expectation. You have asked heaven many times, when? Sometimes through words. Sometimes only through tears. Sometimes through the long silence that only I could understand. You wondered whether your prayers had reached me. You questioned whether the promises spoken over your life had somehow been forgotten. There were nights when you convinced yourself that perhaps the future you imagined belonged to someone else instead of you. Yet every one of those moments was seen. Every disappointment. Every lonely evening. Every unanswered message. Every birthday that felt incomplete. Every dream you buried because believing became too painful. I counted every one. Stop scrolling, something is waiting for you. Pause here for a moment. What you are about to hear was meant to find you. Those words echo because your spirit needs to hear them more than once. The human heart often doubts before it believes. That is why heaven repeats what fear tries to erase. You have been looking for visible proof while invisible foundations were being laid beneath your future. Imagine a builder who works through the night while everyone else sleeps. When morning arrives, people only notice the finished walls. They never see the hours spent measuring every stone. Your life has been like that. The visible answer has taken time because the invisible preparation could not be rushed. There is someone whose thoughts have become unexpectedly occupied by you. Perhaps they have never spoken your name aloud. Perhaps they have. Perhaps they tried to forget you. Perhaps they convinced themselves that moving on would be easier than facing what they truly felt. Yet every attempt to silence what was planted within their heart has only made the truth grow stronger. They cannot explain it. Sometimes they suddenly stop in the middle of an ordinary day because your memory appears without invitation. Sometimes they look around a room and quietly wonder how it would feel if you were standing there beside them. Sometimes they notice an empty chair and imagine it occupied. Sometimes they walk through a doorway and instinctively think about making room. Not because anyone told them to. Because something deeper than logic has begun preparing them. This is not about fantasy. This is about transformation. Before two lives can truly meet, both hearts must become capable of receiving what they once feared. You have changed. You may not realize how much. Pain reshaped you. Disappointment matured you. Waiting strengthened you. The person you were 2 years ago could not have carried what is now approaching. You prayed for blessings without understanding that blessings often require becoming someone who can protect them. That process has not been easy. You questioned yourself. You questioned your worth. You questioned your purpose. Still, every difficult season quietly carved away pieces that no longer belonged in your future. Stop scrolling, pause here for a moment. Something is waiting for you. What you are about to hear was meant to find you. These words return because heaven knows how quickly human doubt returns. Listen again. There is movement where you assumed there was only silence. There is preparation where you believed nothing existed. There is hope growing where you imagined only emptiness remained. You have interpreted delays as rejection. But delays and rejection are not always the same. Many times I delayed what would have broken you simply because you were not ready to hold it. Would you give a child the keys to a home they cannot maintain? Would you place priceless treasure into hands that still believe they are worthless? No. Love waits until wisdom has grown beside desire. That is exactly what has happened within your story. Meanwhile, someone else's story has also been changing. They have begun letting go of things they once believed they needed. Old habits. Old fears. Old expectations. Old attachments. Some nights they cannot explain why their room suddenly feels different. They move furniture. They clean forgotten corners. They throw away objects connected to painful memories. They organize shelves. They create space. Even if they do not fully understand why they feel compelled to do it, their heart has begun preparing for someone whose presence will change the atmosphere forever. Preparation often begins long before recognition. Seeds grow underground before anyone celebrates the harvest. You have only seen the surface. Heaven has been watching beneath it. There were moments when both of you almost crossed paths. You were closer than either of you realized. One decision. One delayed appointment. One changed schedule. One unexpected phone call. One missed turn. Those moments frustrated you because you believed opportunity had disappeared. Yet timing was still being perfected. What seems accidental to humanity is often carefully measured in eternity. There is no wasted season when heaven writes the story. Even your tears watered places you could not see. Do not underestimate what faithful waiting has accomplished inside your soul. The strongest foundations are hidden beneath the ground. The tallest trees spend years developing roots before anyone admires their height. You have been developing roots. Faith where fear once ruled. Patience where frustration once lived. Compassion where bitterness attempted to settle. That transformation matters more than you know. Because the place being prepared is not merely a physical location. It is becoming a refuge. A place where peace will slowly replace years of uncertainty. A place where laughter will sound different because it will no longer compete with loneliness. A place where conversations will continue late into quiet evenings. A place where dreams once whispered in secret will finally be spoken aloud without fear. But before you see that place, something unexpected must happen. Someone must make one final decision. Someone has been standing before a doorway they have been afraid to open. Every instinct tells them their life is about to change forever if they step through it. And they are right. That single decision will begin a chain of events neither of you can stop. You have sensed unusual emotions recently. Moments of peace followed by sudden uncertainty. Unexpected hope followed by unexplained questions. This has not been random. Sometimes your spirit notices approaching seasons before your mind understands them. Pay attention. Not with fear. With quiet expectation. Because heaven often whispers before it reveals. And what is about to be revealed will explain why every closed door, every delay, every unanswered prayer, and every lonely night had to happen exactly as they did. But there is one detail. One detail so unexpected that even the one preparing this space has not fully realized why they keep returning to the same room, the same corner, the same empty place, again and again. They believe they are simply decorating. They think they are only making practical choices. They have no idea that heaven has already marked that space for a purpose far greater than they can imagine. And when they discover what that purpose truly is, nothing in either of your lives will ever be the same. To be continued in Part 2. The silence you have been living through has never been empty. It has been filled with quiet movements that your eyes could not recognize. While you were asking why nothing seemed to change, heaven was arranging details so delicate that even a single day out of place could have altered everything. You measured time by calendars, but eternity measured it by readiness. That is why the answer seemed slow to you while it was unfolding with perfect precision beyond your sight. You may find it difficult to believe this, but there have been moments when your soulmate stood in that space they have been preparing and simply became still. They looked around without understanding why the room suddenly felt incomplete. Nothing appeared wrong, yet something was missing. They could not explain the strange feeling that someone else's laughter belonged there. They imagined conversations they had never experienced, peaceful evenings they had never shared, and a future they could not yet describe. They dismissed these thoughts at first, believing they were only passing emotions. But the feeling refused to leave. Stop scrolling. Something is waiting for you. Pause here for a moment. What you are about to hear was meant to find you. The message repeats because your heart has become accustomed to expecting disappointment before hope. I am gently teaching your spirit to expect restoration instead. There are prayers you have forgotten speaking that I have not forgotten hearing. There are promises you believed had quietly faded that still remain alive before me. Every tear that fell when no one was watching became part of a testimony you have not yet heard. Every lonely night became another page in a story that is still being written. Your soulmate has also carried hidden battles. There were moments when fear convinced them they were not worthy of genuine love. There were seasons when they questioned whether opening their heart again would only bring another wound. They built emotional walls, believing those walls would protect them. Instead, those walls only made the silence louder. Then something changed. Not all at once. Not dramatically. Little by little. A conversation they could not forget. A memory that returned without warning. A quiet realization that life felt strangely incomplete despite everything they had achieved. They began removing things that belonged to an older version of themselves. They cleared closets. They packed away reminders of painful chapters. They opened windows that had remained closed for too long. They brought light into places that had grown familiar with darkness. They believed they were only organizing their surroundings, yet their soul was unknowingly making room for a future it could finally receive. Preparation always comes before arrival. The farmer prepares the field before the harvest appears. The builder prepares the foundation before the home is complete. The heart prepares itself before lasting love can remain. This is why your waiting has never been meaningless. You often asked why doors kept closing. What you could not see was that every closed door redirected you away from a life that would have left your heart emptier than before. You mourned opportunities that were never truly meant for you. Had those doors remained open, you might have settled for comfort instead of purpose. Do not mistake delay for abandonment. The greatest gifts often arrive quietly, after the loudest disappointments have faded. There is something your soulmate has not told anyone. Late at night, when the world grows quiet, they sometimes imagine what it would feel like to welcome someone who brings peace instead of confusion. They picture ordinary moments that somehow feel extraordinary, sharing meals, hearing another voice fill the silence, watching the evening light fall across a room that no longer feels empty. They do not realize why these thoughts have become stronger recently. They believe it is coincidence. It is not. The longing inside them has been awakened because the season is changing. Stop scrolling, something is waiting for you. Pause here for a moment. What you are about to hear was meant to find you. Listen carefully. There is one final piece that has not yet fallen into place. A conversation is approaching. A decision is approaching. An unexpected confirmation is approaching. Neither of you knows the exact day, but heaven already does. When that moment arrives, you will look back over every unanswered question and begin to understand why the journey unfolded exactly as it did. Even the pain that once seemed unbearable will reveal a purpose you could not have imagined while living through it. But before that meeting can happen, one last fear must be surrendered. Not yours alone. Theirs as well. They stand closer to that moment than they realize, carrying a hesitation they have hidden even from themselves. The next choice they make will determine whether they continue living inside old fears or finally step into the future that has been quietly waiting for them. And the remarkable part is this. Even now, as they prepare that physical space, there is one object they are about to place there, something that will unexpectedly remind them of you in a way they never anticipated. The instant that happens, everything they have tried to ignore will become impossible to deny. And that moment is closer than either of you knows.